Anybody living outside of the state of Montana, you are missing the biggest political shit show since Donald Trump ran in 2016. So let me break it down for you. Democratic former Senator Jon Tester here in Montana backed the independent candidate Seth Bodnar instead of the Democratic nominee, Alani Bankhead. That means a bunch of his old school cronies came out, and all of these old school former Democrats, well, like 3 of them, came forward to back Bodnar. Who's the independent? The Montana Democratic Party's nominee is Alani Bankhead. See where this gets awkward? But wait, there's more! Montana's U.S. Senator career incumbent Steve Daines, a Republican, decided to just retire at the 11th and 3/4 hour in the race. He and Donald Trump stepped forward to appoint Republican Kurt Alme as his successor. Actually, it was just Trump who appointed him, but Daines put him in there. So right now for U.S. Senator on the Eastern District of our state, we have Kurt Alme appointed by Trump and Daines. We have independent candidate Seth Bodnar, who got on the ballot by collecting 20 or 30,000 signatures and is backed by money given to him by Democrat Jon Tester. We think he's still a Democrat. We don't know. And the Democratic Party of Montana's candidate is nominee Alani Bankhead, who I might just take this opportunity to point out, is the only candidate in this 3-way race who actually ran a campaign. The other one was appointed, and the other one petitioned on to get on the ballot. It's a shit show. So now the big scuddly doodle in Montana is which candidate, Bankhead or Bodnar, would defeat Alme, who, remember, is the appointed Republican. Former Senator Jon Tester gave Seth Bodnar all the PAC money that he was getting, so automatically he comes out ahead in the money raising than Democratic nominee Alani Bankhead. And of course, Kurt Alme is just part of the great big Trump machine, so that's just printing money out his butt crack over there. I'm not really sure what's going on. Democratic voters like myself are getting hammered every day by multiple emails and multiple texts telling us why Seth Bodnar is the best choice to beat Alme in the election. Making sure to point out that, who the heck is Alani Bankhead, and she has no money. And we're sitting here as Montana voters going, well, of course she has no money because Tester kind of gave it all to the independent guy. We think it might be because he's mad he lost. Nobody knows. Meanwhile, Alani Bankhead is just over there running her campaign, talking about why it's a good idea that we include all Montanans. Let's lead from the back and not from the front. And Bodnar's campaign has him walking around a barn with a gun, talking about all the things. I mean, I don't know who Seth Bodnar or Alani Bankhead is, but I can tell you one thing. Anytime an establishment politician steps outside of ranks and decides that they're going to recruit somebody and not tell anybody, and then give them all their PAC money, and then actively pay for sending people like me texts and emails telling me that if I don't vote for that candidate, then I'm not an advocate for democracy and I want to throw the country to the jaws of Donald Trump. Something's fucking wrong, dude. You gotta keep in mind this is coming from the same establishment Democrats that took all of our money to get them elected. And now Jon Tester's not even backing the Democratic candidate, and he's saying that the Democratic brand is toxic in Montana. Shit show! I don't know Seth Bodnar. I don't know Alani Bankhead. But I do know one thing. Anytime somebody tells me who to vote for, because if I don't, I'm not standing up for democracy. Anytime somebody says, oh, don't vote for her, she has a Christian faith, even though James Talarico is running his entire progressive platform on his Christian faith. Anytime some guy in Montana tells me women can't win, 2 words, you asshats, Jeanette Rankin. The first female representative to ever be sent to Congress by any state in the 1900s by Montana. So here's my theory, Montanans. I think the Republicans are being played with Alme's appointment, and I think the Democrats are being played with the backing of Seth Bodnar by a few rogue independent Democrats. And why do I think this? Well, Kurt Alme is really pro-data center. Alani Bankhead is very anti-data center. And just recently, I think Seth Bodnar may be anti-data center. I'm not sure. His guns are very large in these ads. I have several Republican friends who are really chapped out about the fact that their Senator Daines stepped out of the race and they just got Alme out of sort of default. And of course, there's a bunch of Democrats here who aren't happy about this whole split of the vote with Bodnar and Bankhead. So I'd like to propose something to the state of Montana voters. And I want you to keep an open mind, okay? Remember, guys, they don't call us the treasure state for nothing. Right now, this isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's about the treasure that we have in our state that big corporate interests want. How do I know this? Well, because it's always been this way. Why do you think that the show Yellowstone was so popular? I propose to all of my voting folks out there in Montana that we do something really unusual this election. You know, like we did that time we sent Jeanette Rankin all the way to the House of Representatives. Democrats and Republicans voted for her back then. So this got me to thinking. Why don't we get back to our Montana roots? I mean, I have a ton of conservative and Republican friends, and I'm not going to out who you are, but a significant amount of you are kind of pissed off about the fact that Dane stepped out and shoved this guy up there. There's a lot of you out there that thought he did a really great job for the state of Montana, and now there's absolutely no voting record to debate, which is why Trump did it. I mean Danes. Bodner might be the nicest guy in the world, but he's backed by a former senator who overthrew the Democratic candidate and is also sitting on a big national committee overseeing Anthropic's Claude. That shit's actually true. So Bodner and Ame are both backed by some pretty big establishment money. Rumor has it that Bankhead got some kind of PAC money too, but apparently it's not enough to sneeze at. So Montana voters, here's what I propose. And before I tell you, I'm going to tell you something I did. In this last primary cycle, I cast my very, very first Republican vote ever. My Carbon County State Representative, Brad Barker, was trying to be primaried by kind of a crazy lady that made me feel uncomfortable, especially when she sent really, really anti-LGBTQ materials to our house. So I voted for Brad because he came and introduced himself, and actually he was a really great guy. I'd rather have Brad than the crazy lady with the anti-LGBTQ stuff. I told you that story because I think we got a shot at really making some really great history here, Montana. Alani Bankhead is a former vet. She worked on anti-trafficking task forces. She's getting hammered for having a private Christian faith. But she's not backed by these big corporate weirdos who are trying to eat our state. So maybe it's just time, Montana, that we come together like we do in this great maverick state and give the political establishment a big fuck you. All my conservative and Republican friends out there who are unhappy with the Ame appointment, vote for Bankhead, just like I voted for Republican Brad Barker. All you Democrat voters out there who are getting sick and tired of being told by old guard, washed up Democratic establishment people who we should vote for, and we're not really patriotic if we don't, let's all vote for Bankhead. Let's vote for that short little gal who's obsessed with leading from the back so that everybody is included. Maybe that's a military thing, nobody left behind. I just know that there's been such an effort to push this chick out of the race that I'm gonna vote for her. Because what do we know about humans, Montana? The harder they push you to get rid of you, the truly more dangerous to the big establishment you are. So here's a toast to all my Montana friends, my libertarians, my Democrats, my Republicans, conservatives, and progressives. Here is to the state of Montana being a maverick and showing the rest of the United States that you don't have to kowtow to all this big money that comes in to try to take all the resources in your state. Because when the people band together, that's when we see some good old red, white, and blue democracy in action. As for me, I'll be voting for the only candidate in this Senate race who actually ran a campaign. Cheers.